Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Pena, and as you heard before, I'm a senior at Maryline High School in Boston. I'm here today representing Youth on Board, a student-led, adult-supported organization that has dedicated itself to dismantling the political and economic structures that reinforce inequity. I'm here today because, like everyone else here and across the world, I want to ensure a future for the next generation. Climate change has plagued this world and caused extensive damage both physically and mentally. So why in 2018 are some people still denying the reality of climate change? Isn't there enough proof when disasters like Hurricane Irene, Harvey, and Irma wreak havoc on innocent people who are just trying to make ends meet? Isn't there enough proof when disease, snowstorms, and floods ravage the population and harms the lives of children? I'm the oldest of 11 children. I help take care of all my siblings, from homework to cooking to if they need someone to talk to. I'm always there for them. But I can't fight nature. I can't protect them from climate change on my own. And that's why we're here today, to work together as a movement so we can all protect our loved ones from climate change. I want my siblings to be able to grow up without worrying about increases in airborne and waterborne diseases, without fear of flooding and displacement, and without the fear of constant massive storms. One of my siblings wants to be an artist when she grows up. It's our responsibility to build a world where she's able to create her art without fear for herself and her loved ones. As a kid, I remember playing outside and seeing a big building with smoke coming out of it. Also, as a kid, I developed asthma. It wasn't until later that I realized that these events were connected. Because of this, I wasn't able to participate in sports or even walk too far without hyperventilating. I felt sad and depressed because I couldn't do things with kids without asthma could do. I don't want other children to experience asthma because it's something as trivial as people not wanting to switch to renewable energy. Climate change is a global crisis, but solutions can start locally. Youth on Board's climate team has worked with teachers to develop a curriculum to educate the coming generations about the dangers of climate change and what we can do to ensure our cities are still standing for decades, if not hundreds of years to come. We put on workshops on zero waste to educate the community about reducing the amount of waste we produce in Boston in order to cut down pollution from incinerators. Our hope is that Boston will soon be near zero waste, and we can serve as an inspiration and model for the state and the nation. It's imperative that youth are at the center of this movement. From the anti-apartheid movement to the civil rights, youth has led every great movement in history. I think adults think that we are incapable of understanding climate change because we're uneducated on it. But it doesn't take much knowledge to notice that your cities are flooding and you're losing the people you love to hurricanes. It doesn't take much education to make the connections between these events and climate change. From the March from Our Lives, to the Climate March, to the Women's March, youth have demonstrated that we understand the issues going on in our world. We do care about them, and we will take action. Even if our impacts are small, we have to start somewhere. Before you start running, you learn how to walk. And before you learn how to walk, you learn how to crawl. Even if our pursuit takes decades, we will accomplish it in the end. Another issue I really care about is fighting poverty. This may seem like a separate issue, but in reality it's deeply connected to climate change. The people who will be most impacted by climate change will be low-income communities, who also tend to be communities of color. The reason I bring this up is because children of these communities will be most affected. So if they want to secure a better future for themselves and their children, we need to take action to end environmental racism across the country. If you say there's no racism in climate change, I have to disagree. The places being flooded are low-income communities of colors. If you don't see wealthy people in those areas. So it's both environmental racism and environmental classism. Regardless of who you are, you should be entitled to safety. If our country's not even keeping us safe, what is it doing? So to the people who want to fight climate change, I say yes. And Let's make the climate change movement an anti-classist and anti-racism. Systems like racism and classism only serve to divide us. If we remain divided, then we've already lost this battle. We are the United States of America. The word united means people come together for a common purpose. Don't we all have a common belief that we want to be safe? Don't we all strive for happiness? If that's the case, I see no reason why we cannot put aside our differences and work together as a nation to fight climate change. Thank you.